So this is the highlight reel for 2024. Starting off, we have a gorgeous 28-inch walleye right out of Sturgeon Bay. Later that night, tied into quite a few 26, 27, 28 inchers. Here's us posing with two 26s and a 27. On a deep Vilas County lake, there's Matt with a really nice 26.5-inch walleye. Very late at night. This was earlier in the afternoon. It was a slot fish, 23, 24 inches. Later that night, caught a 25-incher, trolling crankbaits. Next night, went out with a buddy, got a 24-incher. This is just scouting stuff, just figuring out where they are. And that scouting led to a really nice 27-inch walleye that Matt caught. That one was really late at night. Here's Mark with a 30-inch northern pike. We actually caught this because someone was in our trolling path and we had to go around them, and I didn't think we were going to pick anything up. But later that night with Mark, 45-inch muskie, just hit a regular walleye crankbait. And here's Mark with his personal best walleye. It was 27 inches and bit close to midnight later that night. Same night with Mark, another 27-incher and a 26.5. We actually had a really good night, like 5 fish over 25 inches that night, the muskie and the northern. Here's Lovey with her first ever walleye. Dale's looking on. Solo scouting trip, poor picture, but 27-inch walleye caught in front of a creek. Trying a new lake one night, and we went out and we found the smallmouth. This one was 19.5 inches. Just post-spawn, or it had been a bit heavier. This was on a scouting trip. It was like 22, 23 inches. This one was on a school of mayflies, 23. Here's Daniel with a couple keeper walleyes and a smallmouth that did somehow swallow the hook on a crankbait. We were going to let that one go, but I've never seen a fish that size eat a crankbait, get it so deep in his mouth. But this one was just a little 24-incher. The humpback on this smallmouth I thought was quite impressive. I've never seen anything like that. I can only imagine what it looked like with eggs in it. This walleye was feasting on a cloud of mayflies, as was this one. You know, you can see the gut on them. They're just loading up on mayflies. It's actually one of the easiest times of year to catch them. Here's Zach with a really nice smallmouth who was loading up on crayfish. That's not eggs. That's actually a midsummer smallmouth full of crayfish. And that same night, his brother Austin caught a personal best 25-inch walleye. Same deal. It was gorging on crayfish. We were able to locate it and get an easy bite. Another mayfly walleye. You know, you just look for the schools of mayflies on your fish finder, just troll right through them. We were getting them on gold-colored lures that night. This was really early. I hit the water at 2 in the morning this day, and this was about dawn. Another mayfly one. Mayflies everywhere. And same deal with this mayfly smallmouth. You just got to find the mayflies and just present them a large lure. Here's Beecher with a nice, I want to say it was 24, 25-inch walleye early in the night. This one was just a regular summer pattern feeding on schools of minnows. Another mayfly fish, just fat as ever, just roaming around looking for food. Decent smallmouth. This one barfed up some crayfish in the boat. Wasn't huge, maybe 17 inches. I just thought this was funny how small that perch was that his lure. Same with this walleye. The small ones are hungry sometimes. This is Jessica with her personal best 24-inch walleye. It was a tough night, and I applaud them for sticking with it. This was trying a new lake, the first fish within the first 5 minutes. Decent 16, 17-inch smallmouth. This was like a 30-inch northern on that same lake. First time I've ever been there. This was on a morning trip on a favorite lake of mine. I don't normally fish mornings, but it was good slot fish. Early in the afternoon, 16, 17-inch smallmouth, again feeding on crayfish. This was during a rainstorm. I want to say these were eating mayfly, this one and the next one. It was raining pretty good, and I was marking a lot of really tiny things on the fish finder with a couple nice marks in between them. This one followed the lure right up to the boat and hit. It was pretty cool to see. It was a giant smallmouth I found just feasting on these huge crayfish. They were just all over the shallows and couldn't keep them out of the boat that night. Same with the walleye, just barfing up crayfish bits everywhere. And that same night, another really nice smallmouth. When they're eating crayfish, they look so much more impressive. That one's a little skinnier, but it was on the same feeding pattern. That was a night close to the rainy night. Same night there, just not as fat because they're not eating quite as much right there, but big fish nonetheless. It was like a 25-incher if I remember right. It just hit a golden purple crankbait. Here's Natalie and Matt posing with their haul of Upper Peninsula walleyes. Actually went up to Perch Lake in the UP. They have a nice campground there. Natalie had never really gotten walleyes before, and she was a natural at it. She was hauling them in. Even that night, she was able to cast out in near total darkness and catch walleyes. Pretty impressive. You better believe she ate those ones. She's pretty proud of them. See the green hue on the one on the right. Here's Tanner with a nice little eater walleye. We got to sneak out for a couple hours before a storm cut our trip short, and he was pretty happy. Natalie with a nice smallmouth. That thing was eating crayfish, and we pulled a metallic red crankbait right in front of it. Couldn't resist it. That same night, Natalie got a nice slot walleye, just 22 inches if I recall properly. Here's what we're looking for when we're trolling is we want to be running into crayfish like this because that means that the smallmouth and the walleyes are going to have their nose down. I was ticking that crankbait off bottom and we caught that. That night after we got that crayfish, once I figured out what the pattern was, put Nate on a nice walleye here. And then another one later in the night. It was a good night. We ended with like 15 or 20 fish, mix of smallmouth and walleyes. And then a solo scouting trip, I got another nice walleye. That one was actually just suspended over deeper water, as was this one. It was an interesting pattern that night. Not really gorging on anything, but biting well. These are just some pictures of average size, 14, 15, 16-inch walleyes that we let go. This is Justin. He has a really, really nice smallmouth that actually qualifies for a master angler. James and Justin posing with their eater walleyes. Got a nice fish fry out of the night. Let the big smallmouth go. Good loon migration came through one night. Just another average fish that we get in the slot. Really nice 25-inch walleye. That thing was fat. They were in like a foot of water. You could sight fish them. It was a lot of fun that night. This was a 26-inch walleye towards the end of the season. I had a big muskie on that cut me off just before I caught this guy. Going into duck hunting, I do a little duck guiding, but this was me and Nate, and we got our 2 mallards that morning. And then we got wood duck, a teal, some other wood ducks. It was a good opener. Then I went up by myself and shot a goose, which was kind of rare for the spot we were in, but I had a feeling there might be a flock of geese nearby. A really nice hen-hooded merganser that Nate shot. This thing has quite the story to go with it. Stripping down to underwear, trying to swim out to get it, ripped waders, all sorts of crazy stuff with that one. This is actually a hen canvasback and a hen-hooded merganser that I shot. I was out there with my uncle and scouting duck spot and didn't expect canvasbacks, but it worked out pretty good. This was a spot on a flowage where all morning it was literally thousands of green-winged teal flying over with canvasbacks mixed in and mallards. When it got a little slow, then we got the usual merganser migration, and they actually taste pretty good. Tell me that doesn't look good. I know people kind of rag on them a little bit, but they're a good tasting bird. We went back out on a flowage and actually got a bluebill. That was quite the surprise. Normally don't get bluebills, or at least I don't shoot them usually, so it was a nice change of pace to get something new. And then the good ducks went away, so I got some more mergansers. This was early ice. I got a really nice northern pike. It unfortunately did swallow the hook. I tried everything I could to release it, but sometimes when you're tip-up fishing, they just get that hook a little too deep and there's nothing you can do. This was out on a deep, clear lake. Nate was actually getting into catching whitefish for the first time. I was teaching him how to pound bottom to draw them in. This was our haul that day, Cisco's and whitefish. Went back out solo, got a couple nice whitefish, just as, a little nice snack for later. Went out on a favorite lake of mine at night and caught a 25-inch walleye on a tip-up at night. Hard fighter for its size. This was on Lake Superior. I went out and ice fished, and it was a 31-inch brown trout. Didn't get a weight or a girth. I was so worried about getting that thing back in the water healthy, but I'm going to get a replica of that someday. It was a big fish, 31 inches. Me and my dad walked out a couple miles offshore out of Ashland, and we got a decent amount of coho and a little rainbow trout. And this was on a deep, clear Vilas County lake. Got some whitefish. This was on a favorite shallow lake of mine. We got some perch and bluegill.